So, as India is about to take on New Zealand in a test series starting tomorrow, and the first test starts in Bengaluru, after that, the second test is in Pune, and the third one is in Mumbai. And we saw the visuals from the net practice sessions of the Indian team, and all the batters are looking pretty good. All the bowlers are also looking pretty pumped up. So I think the 5-0 pursuit that the team is on, which is to win all the 5 test matches at home, has begun, because we've already beaten Bangladesh 2-0 and pretty comfortably so. Now the 3 tests against New Zealand, I think India are strong contenders, and it should be, I won't say a cakewalk because we shouldn't take any side lightly, but it should be pretty easy for India to be able to win these 3 tests against New Zealand. Number 1, how does Kohli approach this test series? Virat Kohli is someone who scored a plethora of runs all his life, and he has been a phenomenal test batter, but off late he hasn't been as good as you expect him to be. So how does he approach this series? Does he really look to be in control like he has always been? Does he want to become that batter who's really feared ahead of the World Test Championship 2025 final? Of course, he's always feared, but then due to current form and runs that he must have scored prior to the World Test Championship final. So a lot depends on his attitude, what kind of temperament he shows, how he handles the spinners, because of late he hasn't been the best against spinners. We know he has always been very good against spinners, but off late in the last 2-3 years he has struggled against spinners. Yes, spinners have always taken his wickets, and that too most often in soft dismissals. The next thing is that Jasprit Bumrah has been appointed the vice captain of the side, which is a great decision by the BCCI, I feel, because Rohit Sharma is of course the captain, but we know that Rohit Sharma will miss the first test in the Border Gavaskar Trophy in Perth in Australia, and that is when we need a very strong captain, somebody who can perform as a player and who can also lead the team from the front. So I don't think there's anyone better than Bumrah. Of course, Pant also could have been an option, but Bumrah is the person who you know is the best test cricketer we have. So ahead of that big test at Perth, maybe the team would want to give Bumrah an opportunity to captain a test at home when the conditions are in your favour, when it is slightly easier to win, and with a weak New Zealand side it is much easier, is what I believe. So maybe Rohit takes rest in the third test, or maybe sometime in between, to give Bumrah that experience of captaining. He has captained in the past, but then right before the Border Gavaskar Trophy it will be a good exposure for Bumrah. You know, India and New Zealand are playing, but these are two teams who have gone the opposite directions since the 2021 World Test Championship final, when these two teams met, and of course we lost to New Zealand. They were very good, but since then they've just gone downhill, and Indian team has been very consistent, at times going uphill as well, but we are always making it to the World Test Championship final. We are most likely going to make it this time as well, for the 3rd time in a row. We hope we win this time. I think what will also be interesting to see is how Shubman Gill approaches this, because another home test series, and Shubman Gill has been in piping red hot form. He's been phenomenal. He's cemented his position at number 3. I think there was a time just a few months back when he was about to be dropped if he weren't to perform at number 3, because he was previously an opener. We know what happened. Then he was made to bat at 3, or he wanted to bat at 3, whatever it is, but he wasn't performing. But suddenly he's found a way to bat at number 3, and it's as if that position belongs to him. So now he has cemented himself, and it'll be interesting to see how he uses this series to score runs, because I really feel he's going to score a couple of hundreds in these 3 tests. 200s at least is what I feel. Well, my personal hunch is that Virat Kohli certainly is going to score 100 in this series, at least. It may be more than that, but 100 is for sure, and he will be in form throughout the series. He will be one of the key players for India. Another important talking point is that, does KL Rahul continue to get an opportunity to bat at number 6, because Pant will be at 5, and KL Rahul has been picked ahead of Sarfaraz Khan. He's looked okay also, but he hasn't scored big so far. But the team overly relies on him. They really believe in him, and he has a lot of talent. But I think in Test cricket, Sarfaraz Khan has done more than anything for us to consider him. So I really wish Sarfaraz Khan gets an opportunity. But looking at the way the team is picked, I think KL Rahul might just pip him again. And against New Zealand, it will be a good opportunity for him to score. But we'll have to see how he does. More so because there's an Australia series coming up, and he has an experience of playing in Australia, of course, and he's also performed in Australia. So the team might want to give him this series to prepare him, because right in Australia they won't be putting out Sarfaraz Khan to bat. So I think Sarfaraz Khan will have to wait in the wings for a few more series, is what I fear. Another important thing will be to see how Akashdeep performs. He's been excellent at home in the tests, but this is a different ball game. An Australia series is coming up, and he may be very good against New Zealand also. He has to be. He has to maintain his consistency. But what will be important is to see how he fits into Mohammad Shami's shoes. Does he succumb under pressure at times, or does he continue to bowl that right line and length? Because that will be very crucial in Australia. If he misses his line and length, he'll be hammered in Australia. I'm very interested in seeing whether Kuldeep Yadav finally gets a game or not. He is the finest spinner after Ravi Ashwin, spin-wise, skill-wise, in Indian conditions. But just because a Jadeja bats better, of course, Jadeja will get that opportunity. But if India gets to play three spinners, I really hope, nothing against Akshar Patel, and he's an all-rounder, I know he has more skills, but I really feel Kuldeep Yadav, with the kind of spinner he is, the outstanding spinner he is, should really get I won't say just a game. I want him to play all three tests against New Zealand because I don't see him play in Australia, to be very honest. For New Zealand to perform is very difficult, and you would then hope for their younger players, newer players to put their hands up, which is very difficult to do, which is something like what the Indian players did in the Border Gavaskar Trophy in Australia last time, 2020-2021. But that was a miracle. It doesn't happen with all teams every time because there's no Trent Bolt, there's no Neil Wagner, there's no Kyle Jamieson, and for the first test, there's no Kane Williamson, who's the captain. So it'll either be Tim Southee or Tom Latham who will be captaining. Both are good captains, but then the pace attack led by Tim Southee and all newbies, and a batting side that has not been at its best. Having someone like Tom Latham, Devon Conway, and Daryl Mitchell, these are three good players, but apart from them, you can't trust much. So I think it's going to be very difficult for them to really take on India, to really compete against India this time. Now, the last point is that India will also have to see who their fourth pacer is, because in certain conditions in Australia, because there are 5 test matches this time, including in Perth, which is the most bouncy, the most pacey wicket in the world, you may have to play 4 seamers, 4 pacers, which we have done in the past, right, when Shardul Thakur was there. I'm not sure if Shardul Thakur will be able to make it to the test squad directly for Australia without playing the New Zealand tests, so that will be a big suspense that has to be answered by the BCCI, because they have selected Harshit Rana and Mayank Yadav as travelling reserves, but they won't get to play in the New Zealand series. So my hunch is that maybe BCCI is eyeing Mayank Yadav as a very pacey, very good upcoming fast bowler for Australia, but he will have to get a few games in India before debuting for India in Australia. My personal opinion would have been, I would have picked Arshdeep Singh because of his international exposure, experience, and the fact that he's a left arm bowler. He can swing the ball both ways with the new ball, and he can also be good with the old ball, because I'm sure he can quickly learn and master the art of reverse swing as well. So I would have gone for someone like Arshdeep Singh, but maybe they are just protecting him for the Champions Trophy, which is upcoming in Feb 2025. So with all of this, it'll be an interesting series to watch. I think India is really looking to give New Zealand a big drubbing this time and go into Australia with plenty of confidence. Well, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.